When he told you you're not good enough, when he told you you're not right, when he told you you're not strong enough to put up a good fight, when he told you you're not worthy, when he told you you're not loved, when he told you you're not beautiful, that you'll never be enough. Fear is a liar. He will take your breath, stop you in your steps. Fear is a liar. He will rob your rest, steal your happiness, cast your fear in the fire. 'Cause fear, he's a liar. When he told you were troubled, you'll forever be alone. When he told you you should run away, you'll never find a home. When he told you you were dirty and you should be ashamed. When he told you you could be the one that grace could never change. Fear is a liar. He will take your breath, stop you in your steps. Oh, fear is a liar. He will rob your rest, steal your happiness, cast your fear in the fire. 'Cause fear, he's a liar. Let your fire fall and cast out all your fears. Let your fire fall, your love is all I feel. Let your fire fall and cast out all my fears. Let your fire fall, your love is all I feel. Let your fire fall and cast out all my fears. Let your fire fall, your love is all I feel. Let your fire fall and cast out all my fear. Let your fire fall, your love is all I feel. For fear is a liar. He will take your breath, stop you in your steps. Fear is a liar. He will rob your rest, steal your happiness, cast your fear in the fire. 'Cause fear, he is a liar. 'Cause fear, he is a liar.
On this beautiful afternoon, let's take a moment for prayer. If you would, just close your eyes and take a deep breath and feel Spirit all around us, knowing that that oneness is who we are, who we were birthed from, each one of us being brothers and sisters of one another. Just feel that energy, that love, that unconditional acceptance. So in this moment, this very moment, we are so grateful for this time together, for this beautiful day, for each and every person who is here with us in person this afternoon, and every person who is watching us, and those who are not here for one reason or another. Wherever they are blessed. As we all commune with God at our own place. Wherever that is, wherever we are, God is. So this morning, this afternoon, we are grateful for each and every person who has made today's service come together so beautifully. For our audio visual team, for Ken, our musician, for our ushers, for our hospitality, for our practitioners, and especially for Reverend Jenn and her last talk for her time with New Dawn. We know that she has been a blessing for us for 5.5 years, and we are so grateful. And we know that we bless her on her way, on her journey, wherever that leads her. And we know that we are blessing New Dawn as well on its journey as we move forward into our new dawn. So for all of this, and for so much more, we are so very grateful. As we say together, and so it is. I'm still having trouble with the morning and afternoon thing. I don't know what that is, but it keeps going. We were talking earlier, it's my afternoon. Anyway, I have some words of inspiration today. First one is from Greg Barnett. If you bury the pain deep down, it will stay with you indefinitely. But if you open yourself to it, experience it, and deal with it head on, you'll find it begins to move on after a while. And from Susan David, discomfort is the price of admission to a meaningful life. Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one. And from our founder, the Honorary Dr. Ernest Holmes, fear brings failure, faith brings success. It's just that simple.
Today is the final Sunday of this month, and our theme for this month has been divine discomfort. And today we're going to look at the idea of discomfort is the least of our concerns. So if you have been avoiding feeling uncomfortable, that's not your biggest thing to be paying attention to. Just wanted to say that right here up front. We'll get into this as we go forward. So I have an affirmation that was part of the global vision, which many of you know comes from centers, and they vision, and they give us these global visions, and a lot of our centers follow this guideline. But we have this affirmation that I just love, and it says this: I refuse to let fear make my decisions for me. And what a perfect statement, and what an appropriate time that has come forth for not only myself, but for all of us, and all of us in community. So keep that in mind this week. It was posted on Facebook this morning with our little clips, so you can find it if you need to see it later. And our intention is to have a video available later today, and you can also hear it again on the video. So Friday night, I had the opportunity to be on a large airplane. I don't know the numbers, the letters. It was a big plane. And it was United Airlines. And we left Charleston, South Carolina, and we flew into Denver. And the pilot started talking about 45 minutes before we got into this airspace about the fact that we were going to have some turbulence. And it was going to be a problem. And I've never been on a plane where they did this before, but he made an announcement that if you have to go to the bathroom, you better go now. And there are people like lined down the aisle, and I'm thinking, there aren't enough restrooms on this plane to get all those people through and out and back in their seats, but whatever. So it was just something I was contemplating. And I don't know about you, but I don't care for turbulence. It is not a fun place for me to be. And if there's fear going to show up for me, that's when I'm in the air and the plane suddenly is bouncing and I don't know what it's bouncing on, that affects me. So I started praying. And I went into that place of this visual that I have of the hands of God reaching down and holding the base of the plane and just gently carrying the plane into Denver and gently bringing it down and landing it safely and No bouncy, bouncy stuff and all that good stuff. And then a little bit later, the pilot announced that, I'm sorry if you didn't get to the restroom, but you got to take your seats now. Now. And now we have flight staff walking up and down the aisle saying, I'm sorry, you need to go sit down. I'm sorry, you need to go sit down. Get your seatbelt on. And I'm thinking, oh boy, I'm still praying. I'm still in that space. It was one of the most perfect descents and landings I have ever experienced. And I remember thinking, in fact, we were on the ground, and I didn't realize, because I sit on an aisle seat, I didn't realize we were that close, and all of a sudden I realized we're on the ground. And I'm thinking, well, that pilot didn't know what he was talking about. What was he looking at? And then this little voice in my head said, didn't you pray? And I thought, and I can't take credit for all of it. Well, we'll give God credit, but I can't take credit because there were actually 5 that I recognize, ministers from this philosophy on that plane with me, so, whatever. But isn't it funny how we do that? We pray, and when we get the results, we think, how did that happen? And so I want to just encourage us all here today to know that when you pray, Spirit acts, yes, every single time. Let's hold on to that. But anyway, that was just pretty incredible. I thought, well, that's a good little thing to bring up about fear. I have a quote here from that wonderful author, Anonymous. It says, step so far out of your comfort zone that you forget how to get back. Oh my gosh. And this is such a cool space for us, because every time we take that step, every time we have a little more growth, every time we kind of transform, or we let go of a certain belief and we start to adopt something else, we can't go back there. It is impossible to return to that state of consciousness that we were once in. We have evolved. And so when we get out of that comfort zone and we start facing fear and moving forward, we can't go back there. So if there's anyone who's still holding on to some of the challenges and the gifts, and we don't always see them as the gifts, but the gifts that we had during the pandemic, I'm here to tell you, whatever came before that, we can't return to. And whatever happened during that time frame, we are no longer able to return to. So just embrace your beautiful, happy, fancy self and move forward. Move forward and take the next steps. So, discomfort. Is there any place that you can't find it? I mean, part of my reading was talking about how we find discomfort. I'm thinking, I think it's finding us. I think it's happening for us pretty much all the time. But it's that moment when we're kind of uncertain, we're not quite sure, or maybe the emotions have come up and somebody has touched us in a way that just doesn't feel so comfortable. Or maybe we were in that place. I know this probably doesn't happen for any of you. It happens for me. But maybe we're in that place of ego in that moment, where I have that sense that you should know who I am. You should know how I am, and you should be able to interact with me. And then someone comes along and they say something, and it's like, ooh, that didn't feel so good. What I know is that when I am solid grounded and open to the very idea of the truth of who I am, when I am living in that space of God in all and God in me, those conversations that we say hurt our feelings don't happen in my world. Now, I can't speak for you. I can only speak for me. But sometimes I think we go looking for discomfort. And then we get all kittywampus when it shows up. So let's remember this, that we can step outside of that comfort zone. We can get so far away from it that we can't even get back to it. And we don't even want to. And that's beautiful and that's wonderful. Art Williams gives us this quote: I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it. When I made the statement to the leadership council of this community that I needed to let this community go, I knew that I was creating a vacuum for my life that was going to take me to whatever that next level is, whatever that next step is, whatever that next part of my ministry is. I have not retired. I don't know how to do that. Maybe someday I will, but I do not know how to do that. I am moving forward just as I know this community is moving forward. Just as I know that the center, the New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living is also embracing that idea of facing the fear, getting out of that place of discomfort, and choosing what's next. And I have seen so much activity with the members of this community over the past couple of weeks, and it's just been so beautiful and wonderful to see that you're making plans, you're visioning, you're making decisions. This center has never been just about me. I have said since the beginning, this is not my church, it is our center. It is our community. I did not own it. And when I leave it, I'm not leaving you lost and stranded. And so that whole piece for me that just keeps coming up is that when we get to that next place, and we might have some wonky, choppy stuff going on in the next couple of weeks. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But when we get there, it's going to be so worth it. And we're going to go, oh, why did I get so mad? Why did I fight this? Why did I go into resistance? And not necessarily about this, but we have a tendency to do that sometimes. Well, maybe not you, but I do. So let's just hold on to that. Because here's what we know about discomfort. Here's what we know about pain. Eventually, we're past it. Eventually, we're through it. That's what we know about discomfort and pain. Mark Burnett, who is the author of Dare to Succeed, How to Survive and Thrive in the Game of Life, gives us this. I will guarantee you that the day you step outside of your comfort zone, by making your success your goal, is the day you discover that adversity, risk, and daring will make life sweeter than you ever imagined. Wow. How beautiful. We think of those things in negative terms: adversity, risk, daring. And I'm here to tell you that there's not a negative connotation in that whole statement. It's going to make our lives sweeter. So one of the things that we want to pay attention to as we go through our spiritual practices this week is how can we build that muscle of resiliency? How can we build that part of us that says, okay, this is feeling kind of tough, but I'm going to move forward and I'm going to continue on. Because I think what we do sometimes is we start to go forward, and then all of a sudden we go, okay, wait a second, am I still on the right path? Is this exactly what I'm supposed to be doing? And we kind of get a little concerned. We get a little anxious. Isn't that a great word? I know many of us have heard that word a lot. We've probably thought it. I'm feeling anxious. And we get stuck in that space of not knowing how to go forward. And what we want to do, what that inner mechanism in the body tells us to do sometimes is to retreat. Get back in bed. And I happen to know that there is a beautiful quote from Dr. Wayne Dyer that says, don't go back to sleep. And I'm thinking, okay, so I've never heard any really great philosopher telling me to go back to bed. So again, that tells me I'm not working through this the best way I can or the way I'd like to. That's my challenge. So we want to move through whatever we need to move through and embrace the resiliency of our spirit, of the spirit within us. We don't have to quit. We can keep going. And again, this past week, I came to the realization that I don't know where I'm going to be next Sunday. Thinking, oh, this is great. I won't have to do anything. And then it was like, oh, like, I mean, anything like I have a week vacation or something. And then it was like, oh my gosh, where am I going to go? What community am I going to be a part of? And within seconds, the realization was I'm going where I want. I can go attend any service I want. That's a cool thing. That's a great thing until I know what's coming up next for me. So in honor of Black History Month, I've been talking about individuals who have impacted the history of America. And I want to talk about an individual who I wouldn't classify this individual as a Black person. His name is Dr. Ernest Holmes, and he's the founder of our philosophy. But there's a story about him and someone, and I want to share this with you today. This is a picture of Reverend J. Arthur Twine. In 1932, when Holmes was bringing forth the guidelines for Centers for Spiritual Living, and at the time it was called Religious Science, the Church of Religious Science, the Churches of Religious Science, there was a minister, J. Arthur Twine, who was the minister of the Los Angeles Third Church. And he was incredible. And I met one of his descendants at the conference this past week, which was absolutely phenomenal. But let me just tell you a little bit about this. Holmes was the kind of person that he wanted us to understand that we are all one. It was one of his primary missions, one of his primary statements. We are all connected. We are all one. And at a conference, Reverend Twine and his wife were available, and they had a fairly newborn baby. I'm not sure how old the baby was. And Holmes ran up to the mom and took the baby and was talking about how beautiful he was, how beautiful he was. And then he went running around and showing this baby to others and telling them, isn't this the most beautiful baby? Have you ever seen a baby so beautiful? Now, we've done some things like that, probably in the energy that I just shared. But here's how Holmes shared it. He would hold this baby with tears in his eyes and say, have you ever seen a more beautiful baby? And people were touched, and they had that heart-to-heart connection, not only with him, but with this beautiful infant at the time. Well, here's what's transpired a little bit after that. We have a magazine called the Science of Mind magazine, and it has been around for 130 years? Yeah, thank you. 100, a long time, longer than I have been around. And Holmes brought this together, and back in the day, in the front of the magazine, they had a listing of the churches of religious science. So if you were someplace and you were looking for a center, you could find it. And in 1945, when you opened that magazine, the Los Angeles Third Church was no longer third in line in the listing. Instead, it had been moved to the bottom of the list. And next to the name of the center was an asterisk. And at the bottom of the page, in very small italics, was the asterisk and the word colored in our magazine. Now, Dr. Ernest Holmes, who did not have his honorary doctorate at the time, so Ernest Holmes at that time was livid. Yeah, he wasn't happy. And I know, knowing what I know of him and all the stories I've heard of him, he had dropped into prayer. I'm absolutely certain that was the first thing he did, was just go into prayer. And sometimes we think that's all that we need to do. But his demonstration to us over and over again has shown us that that's not it. Doesn't end there. He went to the church. He went as a visiting minister. He walked up to the lectern, and he stood there waiting for the crowd to quiet down. And people got quiet, and people started paying attention. And he continued to wait, because sometimes there's some depth in the silence when we finally get everyone to pay attention. This is what he said. I have been told that too many non-Caucasians attend these lectures. True. There are Caucasians and non-Caucasians in this congregation. But we must affirm, we are all children of one living God, one God that permeates all, without exception. Our intelligence that governs all, and most important, every man and woman, where today we would say every human being, who abides in the universe is a significant entity in the one universal consciousness. Our doors will forever be open to all. Whoever you are, be proud. You are a divine idea in the mind of God. A portion of that is on the quote screen up here in front of you. Whoever you are, whatever lies you have been told in your lifetime by people who didn't get it, who don't understand, who haven't been enlightened, who have other challenges within them and they can't see it. Doesn't matter what they said, doesn't matter who they were. You, every single one of you, every single one of us is a divine idea in the mind of God. We are diverse for a reason. I believe we've missed the understanding of that over and over and over again. And yet, here we are, and we still have time to shift and address that. Thich Nhat Hanh gives us this quote. People find it difficult to let go of their pain. They prefer familiar suffering because they fear the unknown. Sometimes we want to stay with the hurt that we know. We want to stay with the pain that we are familiar with. I don't want to let this go because whatever's out there might be worse, might be harder, might be more difficult. I find it curious that so many human beings choose pain. Some of them choose pain because of their family of origin. Some of them choose pain because it's just kind of become a way of life. Some of them choose pain because of the religious influence in their lives. I met Father Leo Booth, an Episcopalian priest, years ago, and we kept saying he was the best religious scientist we knew. He was he was phenomenal. And he came into our center and he did a workshop on religious abuse. Now, I came from a very traditional religion. I call it the faith of my parents. It was a lot of hardcore teachings. It was a lot of black and white. It was a lot of restrictive stuff, a lot of fundamentalist kind of concepts. And I'm sitting, I'd been in a part of religious science for probably 2 years by then. And I'm sitting in the audience and he's telling me that I may have been abused in the teaching that I was given as a child. And I was blown away because the fear I had was that no matter what I did, someday I would have to return to that other religion and repent of all my sins and all of that wonderful stuff I'd been taught, or I would surely go to hell. It's what I'd been taught. And I do not blame the teachers and the ministers of that religion. I do not blame them because a lot of it was my interpretation. You know, we're saying stuff and we're all interpreting it differently, so a lot of it could have been me. And yet, it was abusive. By the time I was in my mid-20s, 3 of the teens that I had grown up with had taken their own lives. And I remember hearing my parents talking about how horrific that was and how could that happen. And I remember standing off to the side and thinking, based on my perspective, it was impossible for us to embrace that idea of perfection that we had been taught. It was impossible. And so to me, it was no wonder that some decided they could not bear to continue and go forward. And so as we look at this, we want to look at the fact that, yes, there can be suffering in the unknown. Guess what? You don't really know what's going to happen in the next 2 hours. You might think you do, but you don't. So even the next 2 hours of our lives is unknown. So let's chill out a little bit. Let's calm it down. Let's turn to God. Let's turn into inward and go into spirit and allow that to come forth for us and look at it from the perspective of we are all protected children of the universe. We are all one with the divine. We have nothing to fear unless we choose to stop in our tracks and not go forward. There's just so much more for us here. Holmes tells us through spiritual discernment, we see that we have within us a power which can overcome every obstacle in our experience and set us safe, satisfied, and at peace, healed and prosperous in a new light and a new life. He goes on to say in his book, and this is kind of old looking, it's called The Inner Light, and I wanted to just bring this in. It's just a little blue book. I've been telling everyone about this book for years and telling everyone it's out of print. Well, guess what? The Inner Light is a book about Ernest Holmes. It's written by Hornaday and Ware, and it is now available on Amazon. And the stories in this are priceless. They're beautiful. But here's what Holmes is saying regarding this quote. The healing power within us is responsive, whether we light a candle or a joss stick. Now, I don't know if you know what a joss stick is, but it's kind of like a big stick with kind of like incense sticks that you light it and it stays burning. Because I had to look that up. I'm like, I don't know what that's whether we light a candle or a joss stick, whether we worship in a mosque, a shrine, a temple, a church, or on the highest hill, it will not forsake us even if we doubt its existence. If we forget to perform certain religious rituals, or if we are immersed in the guilt of past mistakes, I cannot tell you how many people come to me for prayer because they have gotten out of habit with their spiritual practices. If you are taught that the God of all life, the Spirit, this amazing being that is in, of, and through all things is keeping score, I'm here to tell you it does not have the time. It is not paying attention to whether or not you prayed 3 times today or not. It's our minds that's taking us into that self-beat up. It will never refuse to do us any special favors, and it will never do special favors for us based simply on our politics or the color of our skin. Every human being has the right, the ability, and the power to take charge of their lives, and prayer is answered for all who speak it. He goes on to say, it is as personal as the presence and its love. It will respond to recognition and identification in our daily lives. It responds to affirmative prayer. And that's how we pray. That's how we treat. We call it treatment. Sometimes that might not be familiar for you. Sometimes we call it prayer, but we speak in the affirmative. Whatever is going on with you, whatever horrific challenges are happening, reword that into a positive statement of what you choose and desire now. And whether you know the 5 steps of spiritual mind treatment or not, you have just spoken a prayer on your behalf. And then it's just up to us to believe and to listen, because sometimes we're guided. Guided to where to go, guided to what to do. Our dear practitioner emeritus, Claudine Smith, called me a couple of weeks ago, and I had contacted each one of our practitioners and spoken to them directly regarding my choice to step down from this position at New Dawn. And what she told me was, she said, what came forth for her was that when I made that statement of what I was going to do to support me and my world and my life and my ministry, I gave her permission to open up to that very idea. And so what I want you to go away with today is that I'm giving that permission to every single one of you. I did not do this to be this shining example of somebody's going to go out there and do something crazy risky and quit their job and then wonder what's going to happen next. No, that's not what it was all about. However, if in that process, in that reflection of who I am and how my faith works, that does something for you, that supports you in some way, then that's what we're here for, isn't it? Isn't that what this is all about? So every one of you in this room and online who see this online have the power right now. Right now. You don't have to go get it. You don't have to pay somebody a bunch of money. You don't have to take 52 classes, although all of those things are good for you. All you need to know is you have the power right now. And you can call it whatever you want. There are so many names for this presence, this beauty, this spirit that is within each of us. We don't need to get caught up on what we call it. I just need you to know and to hear and embrace the idea that you have that power right here and right now. And you can use it to improve your relationships, to improve your communication skills, to get a better job or to get out of a job that doesn't work, to locate a great vehicle at a good price, to purchase a home, to find a spiritual community if that's what you're seeking. It doesn't matter what it is you're thinking about or you're wondering about. You have the power to seek it, to find it, to create it. And the thing that we know about how God works is it's always what we think it's going to be or something so much better. Because spirit is expansive. We have a little bit of limited thinking. You know, I think I could probably do this, and maybe I could do that. And then God comes along and says, nope, you can do this. You can be the senior minister at the New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living in Aurora, Colorado, fresh out of school. Took my breath away. Still does. Still does. So let us do this. Let's not waste the momentum that we have already built. Don't stop in our tracks. Go hide in the corner. Here's what I discovered. I've shed a lot of tears the last few weeks because I all of a sudden one day I woke up and realized that this was an emotional process for me. I don't know how I missed that, but I've shed a lot of tears, and what I've discovered is I can do anything and cry at the same time. I don't know about you. I don't recommend driving a car. That might not be a good idea. But I can pretty much do whatever I want, and the tears can flow, and it's okay. It's absolutely okay. So we don't have to stop. We can keep that momentum going. We can embrace the changes that are happening. We can give thanks for them because they're leading us to something new and amazing. And we can know that what's next is incredible and allow ourselves to see it. So back to this idea of me being a demonstration, being an example for each of you of the faith, of the fortitude, of the resilience, of the knowing. I didn't make this decision because I could not stand to be here. That wasn't it at all. I did not make this decision because there were people in this community that I was challenged with. It had nothing to do with that. I talked to a number of ministers. I got a lot of prayer support, and Spirit guided me through the whole thing. And the feedback I got from every single person I talked to was, the love you have for this community is unbelievable. And I want you to know that. It is unbelievable. My love for each and every one of you is just, it's huge. It's huge. And that has nothing to do with the shifts and the changes that are taking place. I know that I'm not any smarter than any one of you. I'm not any cuter, even though I have cute moments. That's not what it's about. No one of us is better than the other. Sometimes one of us just makes a decision before the rest do, and we kind of follow their lead if it's appropriate. I know this community can do great things. I know we all can continue to face the fear, move through the discomfort, take the risk, jump from one stepping stone to the other, knowing that no matter what happens, God's got us. So imagine this. In fact, take a moment and think about a time when you were just so afraid to step forward. You were so afraid to move forward, or things were just so intense that you couldn't quite find the path. And then eventually you got past it. Eventually you got through whatever it was. How did that feel? For me, every time it has just been amazing and exhilarating. When we can conquer the challenges that once seemed insurmountable, when we can embrace the discomfort, we open the doors to a world of endless possibility and untapped potential. Because when we get through this discomfort and fear, we have now arrived someplace we have never been before. And it's phenomenal. It's amazing. So as we close today, I just want to remind us all that we are living in a world of uncertainty and rapid change. You probably didn't need me to tell you that, did you? We are living in a world of uncertainty and rapid change. And resilience and adaptability are more crucial than ever. If you hear someone say something that harms you or hurts you, consider the fact that that was not their intention, that that was not what was on their heart, that maybe you misunderstood, maybe you don't know where they're coming from, maybe you don't know what else is going on in their world. Take a deep breath. Bless that person. Say a prayer and move on. We are about to move into a exciting time. Would you call it that? An exciting time of political stuff. There's going to be an election, I hear, someday, and there's going to be candidates, and there's going to be a whole lot of noise, there's going to be a whole lot of chatter, and there's going to be a whole lot of people getting really excited. How about we take a deep breath? How about we hold that space of knowing the divine is guiding this entire nation, whether it sounds like it or not, and let us just pray for the highest and best for all of us to come forth. As we embrace the discomfort this week, my encouragement to you is remember who you are. Remember that you are a divine idea in the mind of God. Remember that you have the power within you right now. You may need a little support, may need to reach out to someone to help you with that, whatever it takes. Each and every one of us is blessed by God. And we can move past that place of discomfort. We can face the fear, and we can create our best lives ever. Please join me in prayer. There is a power. There is a power, a presence, a truth, a light that is in back of all things. It is the creator of all life. It is that presence that energizes us. It is that being that lives within each of us. It is the very breath we breathe. It is the heartbeat within us. And we have the ability to call it what we choose. I choose to call it God, Spirit, knowing that it is here with me in my very being right now and all the time. And as we realize this and as we recognize this for each of us, we come to that awareness of knowing I am not alone. I am not alone. No one of us is. It is only our mindset that tunes us away from that divine being, that energy, that influence. that precious, precious place we are with Spirit. And so today we take this with us. And as we take this with us, we know that not only is God within each of us and are we connected to God, but we are connected one to another, and we are all one. It doesn't matter what we look like. It doesn't matter how we speak. It doesn't matter how we dress. It doesn't matter where we live. We are connected. We are one. And as we move forward from this moment, this space, right here, right now, with that truth on our hearts, we know that we are creating a world that works for all. Not just all people, all life, the planet, all of it. We are a part of this. And so we celebrate this today. We celebrate the excitement and the energy of going forward with this. And we know that each one of us hears a different message. We hear a different song. We hear a different beat. And that's perfect because it is guiding us to do, be, have all that we can. And so right here and right now, I call all people blessed by God. I know that the truth lives within every single person, and my prayer is that more and more and more are able to see it, feel it, know it, touch base with it, understand it. And those of us who do know and understand, we are willing to share that truth with everyone we come in contact with, because this is how we move forward as a unified being, a unified species, as we move forward in life and support all one another. I'm so grateful for this New Dawn community and the amazing, amazing life I have led with them these past 5.5 years. I am grateful, grateful, grateful. I know all is well and all is good. And I simply release these words unto the law, knowing it's already done in the mind of God. I let it go and let it be. And together we say, and so it is.
Sick and tired of being sick and tired. Had as much of you as I can take. I'm so done, so over being afraid. I've gone through the motions, I've been back and forth. I know that you're thinking you've heard this before. I don't know how to say it, so I'm just gonna say it, yeah. Fear you don't own me, there ain't no room in the story. And I ain't got time for you telling me what I'm not, like you know me. Well, guess what? I know who I am. I know I'm strong and I am free. Got my own identity. So fear, you will never be welcome here. Take a minute, it'll settle in. You probably never saw it coming. Something's got to give, so I give up you. There's no room for you here, yeah, I've had enough. The no vacancy sign on my heart is lit up. In case you didn't hear it, here it is again. Oh, fear you don't own me, there ain't no room in the story. I ain't got time for you telling me what I'm not, like you know me. Well, guess what? I know who I am. I know I'm strong and I am free. Got my own identity. So fear, you will never be welcome here. Is there anybody out there just like me? Anybody needing fear to leave? If you don't know how to say it, sing along with me. Yeah, sing, fear you don't own me. There ain't no room in this story. And I ain't got time for you telling me what I'm not, like you know me. Well, guess what? I know what I am. I know I'm strong, brave, and I am free. Got my own identity. So fear, you will never be welcome here. Whoa, oh, fear. Goodbye, goodbye. Whoa, you will never be welcome here.
And I just have a couple words, and I understand other people have a couple words, so settle down. I want you all to know that no matter what happens in the next days, weeks, years, whatever, that I love you so much, that you have filled my heart and soul in ways that I never, ever imagined. And I'm walking out of here today, and I will no longer be your senior minister, but that doesn't mean I've left the planet, and that doesn't mean we're breaking up or getting a divorce. Many of you have my contact information. I've chosen not to change my New Dawn email for a while. So you can email me, you can call me. Most of you have my phone number. If one of the practitioners, if you reach out to a practitioner, they can give you my information. I'm still here. I'm still a minister. I'm still here. And it is my absolute joy and pleasure to support people. Absolutely. So a song came to me the other day, and here's what I hold for you. And then Ken is going to sing this because he'll do pretty much whatever we tell him to. He's just awesome. I hold this space for you with a heart so full of gratitude. I have no regrets, absolutely none. And I ask this of you. May you always allow yourself to remain hungry for the truth. May you continue to be awestruck by all of God's creation. May you fearlessly take the necessary risk and always give faith a chance. And today and every day, my prayer for you, just dance.
Hope you never lose your sense of wonder. You get your fill to eat, but always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. Hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. When you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. Oh, I hope you dance. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. Never settle for the path of least resistance. Living might mean taking chances, but they're worth taking. Leaving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some hell-bent heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. Give the heavens above more just than a passing glance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. Time is a wheel in constant motion, always rolling us along. I hope you dance. Tell me who wants to look back on their youth and wonder where those years have gone. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, hope you dance. I hope you dance. Yeah. Time is a wheel in constant motion, always rolling us along. Tell me who wants to look back on their youth and wonder where those years have gone. I hope you dance. Yes, I hope you dance. I hope you dance.
And if you forgot how to dance, just watch Nancy Kipke, because she's doing it all the time. I know this is not my space. Who wants this? Who went? Oh, I should have known.
Thank you. Could I have Dennis and Carol, and Marty isn't with us today, come up, and Babs, our honorary scribe, would you come up too, please? I won't make you talk. Okay. Rev Jen, I just want to say to you, saying to you from our heart, from the entire congregation, from the leadership team, that it is very difficult to say goodbye to you. Whew. We thank you. We thank you for guiding us through some troubled times. And we doubly thank you for all the fun we've had together. We've laughed and we've cried and we've prayed together. And we bless you on your way. Thank you for being our minister.
Hello, I'm Reverend Jenn Wilde, Senior Minister for New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living. New Dawn Center is a global community, and we welcome all people, all paths, all ways of thinking, all philosophies. So know that you are welcome here, and thank you for joining our online community.